Today I'm going to be showing you how to make one of my favorite recipes of all time, vegan deep dish pumpkin pie that happens to have a really addicting and really good gluten-free crust. We're going to start by adding our gluten-free all-purpose flour to either a food processor or just a mixing bowl. Oh, lost some flour there in there, every little bit. Now I have to say there's a certain type of gluten-free all-purpose flour that I highly recommend. It's a garbanzo bean base. So I will provide that link below so you can easily find it. Next, we're going to be using some almond flour. Now you can usually find the bright white kind just like this, or you can find the type that still has the skins from the almonds, so it's a little bit brown, a little speckly looking. They both work, but just for appearances, I like to use the white type. A little bit of brown sugar just to help sweeten it ever so slightly. It's a tiny bit, but it adds a little something special. Have our salt, very important in pie crust recipes. When you have a little bit of salt in your pie crust, it adds a little savory element, so it contrasts really, really nicely with a sweet pie filling. Gonna let this mix as is. Now, if you don't have a food processor, just mix it up really thoroughly in a bowl, and that'll be fine. Next is the ingredient that makes any pie crust really, really special, which is non-hydrogenated vegetable shortening. I will provide a link to the type of shortening that I recommend below. It's really important that you measure it out just in small amounts in tablespoons, because you don't want a giant clump of the shortening in this mixture. You want it spread out. Now, I will say this ingredient is not on the healthy side, but pumpkin pie is certainly a treat, not something you eat every day. And I only save shortening for special recipes just like this. Very greasy stuff. I'm gonna let this go again. And what you're looking for is for most of it to come together. It's not all one giant ball, but it can be if you push it together. Now I will say, if you don't have a food processor, you can do this by using a pastry cutter just like this. You mix in your shortening that way in the mixing bowl, it will do the same job. Scoop up any last little bits of flour. So once it's emptied out onto the board, we just gather it into a nice ball. Take a sheet of parchment paper, lay it down. Start with just a disc shape, just like that. Now from here, you can grab a rolling pin and roll it out like you normally would for pie crust, but this is such an easy crust recipe, so easy to work with, that I honestly just use the palms of my hands. So once we have our nice disc shape here, just start pressing out. The goal is to create a 10-inch circle that's about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch thick. And how do you know if your circle is big enough? I'll show you. Take your pie pan and you flip it over just like that, and you see if there is about 1/2 of an inch of pie crust sticking out all the way around, maybe more like 1/4 of an inch. That's looking pretty great to me. Now this next part is all about confidence. It's really easy, but you gotta be confident. Slide your hand underneath, right in the center of the pie pan, push up, put your other hand right on top, flip it over. Just wanna peel away the pie crust. Slowly and carefully. Might stick just a little, so go really slow, work with it. If it falls apart a little, that's fine. Now you may notice that my parchment paper is perfectly flat. It didn't curl up on me on the edges. Believe it or not, they do sell parchment sheets that are not in a roll. I will provide that link for you below as well. From here, we just need to form it the way that we need it to make a really pretty pie crust. Push all along the edges and on the bottom, all the way around. Really press the sides so that it's stuck on the pie pan really well. And then you'll see if there are spots where we have a little bit more pie crust than others, bring it over to the other side. Depending on how, it just wouldn't be a taping if we didn't have the clock. Now if your kitchen is on the warmer side, it might help to pop this in the fridge just for a couple of minutes to make it a little easier to work with, but typically this pie crust is really flexible. All right, and then from here, we have enough on the edges. We start pressing along, try and create a nice pretty design. Next, we're going to be blind baking our pie crust, which means you want to bake it on its own without any filling first. Doing this ensures that your pie crust will not be soggy once that filling hits it and bakes in the oven. So we're just gonna pop it in for about 12 minutes or so. One thing I've learned to do, always bake your pie on a baking sheet so that you can easily take it in and out of the oven. There have been so many times that I have pulled this gorgeous, perfect pie out of the oven and accidentally knocked the crust with my thumb or the pot holder, and it ruins it. So be sure to always bake your pie on a baking sheet. This pie crust will be baking in a 350-degree oven for about, like I said, 12 minutes or so. All right, now while we're waiting on our crust, let's start on that filling. And since we have a deep dish pumpkin pie, we're using 2 cans of pumpkin. A normal pumpkin pie would only call for 1, but this one's serious. It's a big, thick pie, so glorious. I can't wait until you see the finished product. Now when you're picking up your canned pumpkin, you really want to make sure you get just plain pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling, which is usually kept right on the same shelf, right next to the pumpkin. So really be careful that you grab the right one. I can't even tell you how many cans of pumpkin I go through in the fall. If you jump on audreydunham.com, you will see an incredible amount of pumpkin and pumpkin spiced recipes. I kind of go nuts this time of year, I'm not gonna lie. Looking really pretty already. Next, we're gonna grab our pumpkin pie spice. I will provide a link for the pumpkin pie spice I like best as well. Granulated sugar, also called cane sugar. We have some light brown sugar. Next, we're gonna be adding a very important ingredient, which is coconut cream. Now, it's different than coconut milk. Coconut cream is usually found in a smaller little can just like this, not to be confused with the larger can like this. Now, I will say, if you cannot find coconut cream, you can use this instead, but just refrigerate this for about 4 to 6 hours or overnight, and then scoop out just the thick part, and that can be used as your coconut cream substitute. It's basically the same thing. Now, I will say you want to shake your can of coconut cream really, really well before you open it. All right, so I have some coconut cream here. Now, if you happen to open up your can of coconut cream and there is some liquid still on the bottom, just give it a really good stir and use it from there. A little bit of non-dairy milk. The one milk that I wouldn't necessarily recommend would be oat milk because it tends to be a little starchier and it can affect the end product. Finally, what creates a nice thickness for our pie, cornstarch. I go for the organic type so that we avoid those GMOs. A little bit more salt. And that's it. I use a hand mixer from this point on, but you're welcome to use a stand mixer if you like. Either way, it will get the job done. Start on low. Otherwise, ingredients will fly. Scraping down the sides to get all that cornstarch. Ah, all right, our pie crust is done. Very, very careful. Take it slow. We'll leave that right there for now. Now this filling is almost done. We just want to blend a little bit more to make sure there's 0 clumps. That coconut cream can be really stubborn sometimes. Bring it up to a high speed. Right. If you have any clumps in there that are really stubborn, get in there with your little fingertips and smash them up. It's not glamorous, but it gets the job done. The last thing you want is to have a pie piece that has a little tiny white clump in it. Look at that. Looks like pumpkin pie filling, right? Yum. Now we just pour it in right down the center. We grab a spatula to get the rest. Straight in there. Just shake it to smooth it over a little bit. Pop in the little bubbles. Now very carefully, we want to transfer this back into the oven. It's going to bake for about 60 minutes. You will know when it's done when the edges are a nice medium to dark brown. And also, if you give the sheet a little shake just like that, you want it to only jiggle a tiny bit right in the center circle. Very carefully transfer it over. Once your pie is completely done, ready to come out of the oven, the next thing you need to do is make sure that it doesn't crack. And you do that by letting it gradually cool. So the first step, switch off your oven and then crack the oven door about that much. Let it sit in there for about 15 to 20 minutes. If your oven door doesn't stay like this, then just open it all the way and make sure that nobody walks anywhere near it. Then from there, we take our pie out of the oven, keeping it on that hot baking sheet and set it on the range so that it can cool a little bit more. After about another 20 minutes or so, transfer it to a cooling rack and then you want it to be completely cool before you transfer it then to the refrigerator. And I will say, you can actually keep your pie in the fridge up until about an hour or two before serving. So of course, I have a finished pie ready to show you. As you can see, Jeff and I got a little hungry this morning. Couldn't resist. I mean, there's a pumpkin pie sitting there. We had to go for it. Got another piece right now. As you can see, I like adding little crust leaves to the surface. It's a little nice added touch. All you do is increase your crust recipe by about 1/4, and then you'll have enough to make leaves like this. And I'll of course provide a link to the perfect cookie cutters for these leaves below. All right, we have our piece of pie. I don't know why I gave myself such a small piece. What was I thinking? I'm going back for a third. Look at this pie. You would never know that this is vegan, which means no eggs, no evaporated milk, no heavy cream, and it's gluten-free, which means that it has no wheat. Honestly, you can't go wrong with this pie. Now I'm gonna be adding just a little bit of my vegan coconut whipped cream. You can find the full recipe on audreydunham.com. It's my 2-ingredient vegan whipped cream. I will say I added this to the freezer last night, so it's a little firm. It looks a little bit more like ice cream. I'm being modest with the whipped cream because you're here. Normally it's 3 times this amount for me, but I'll be dainty for a minute, why not? Nice and firm. Yum. This is it. This is what I look forward to every November. Thanksgiving is not complete without pumpkin pie. Once again, you can find this recipe on audreydunham.com. Just look for deep dish pumpkin pie and that 2-ingredient vegan whipped cream. You can't miss that. So good. I have to say, my kids, they love both of these recipes. They love the pumpkin pie and the whipped cream. I hope your family loves it as much as we do. All right, I'm gonna force myself to stop eating so that I can say, please leave me a comment if you try this recipe. I love hearing from you. Please like this page and please share it with your friends as well. And be sure to visit audreydunham.com for the full recipe. That's AUDREYDUNHAM.com. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. You wanna make sure that you don't miss any of my videos, and that's the best way to do it. But to catch more videos right now, you can click right here. And to get instant notifications anytime that I post a new video, be sure to click that bell. Thank you very much for joining me today. I will see you all next time. Happy fall, everybody.